Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kylie Kendall, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing my first trimester recap. So for those of you who are new, I am currently pregnant with my second baby and I am so stinking excited. So today I am 19 weeks and a couple days. So obviously I'm out of the first trimester now, but it's all still super fresh. So I figured I would share different symptoms that I experienced, cravings, aversions, some things that happened at different doctor's appointments throughout the first trimester. And yeah, I'm just so excited to share. So let's just get right to it. Okay, so I want to start off with my early symptoms, or some symptoms that I experienced before actually getting a positive pregnancy test. So my first pregnancy, I actually had no symptoms before taking a test, because I actually ended up taking a test before I even missed my period. So up to that point, I had experienced no symptoms at all. This time was a little different. I didn't take a test until October 19th, and that was supposed to be the first day of my period. So I hadn't technically like missed my period, but that was the day it was supposed to start, and I was already having some symptoms, so I figured might as well just take it. Okay, so I was very cold, which is very weird for me because I run pretty warm. And this is the same for my first pregnancy. It was also a symptom that I had, just being very cold. It's very unusual for me. But something that stood out a lot to me this time was, I remember one day we were on our way to my husband's baseball game, and I started to get these like waves of nausea. And if you've been pregnant before, you know that pregnancy nausea is very special. Like, you know it when you feel it. It's kind of like when you're hungover, like that type of nausea. Ugh, it's no fun, but it's very special. So you know exactly what it is when you feel it. I remember feeling it and being like, ooh, that's kind of weird. But I remember it would kind of come and go every once in a while, and I was like, odd, but I don't know, I kind of brushed it off. And then I also did have some spotting on 10/7 and also 10/9. But at that time, I didn't think anything of that. I really just thought that was like, oh, my period's gonna start soon. So those were like the three symptoms that I had before taking a test that made me possibly believe that I may be pregnant. So like I said, I had gotten a positive test on 10/19/2020, and at that point I was about 5 weeks pregnant. So I actually felt kind of nice, because the first time I was pregnant, I was like 4 weeks when I found out. So it felt like I already had like a week jump start. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I was really happy. I was like, whoa, 5 weeks already, cool. Okay, so now I want to get into just my overall first trimester symptoms. In my phone, I had them by week, like, oh, 5 weeks was this, 6 weeks. That's like a little too much. So for this video, I'm just going to share my overall symptoms that I had pretty much throughout that whole first trimester. So like I mentioned earlier, I was cold. Like, I continued to just be cold, which very weird for me. But yeah, so I was just cold all the time. I was so tired. Now, my first pregnancy, I was definitely tired. Like, I probably shared that in my other video, that I was just tired. I'll tell you something, this was like a whole new level tired. I didn't know what I was saying last time I said I was tired. This time I was like really tired. And I know obviously I have a 1-year-old daughter, so I'm sure that plays a role, but I really don't even think it's just that, because I was like so tired. Like, it couldn't have been just because, oh, I have a child now, you know? Just extremely tired, way worse than my first pregnancy. I was still nauseous all day, every day, just like the first time I was pregnant, but I never threw up, which I didn't the first time either. Thank goodness. But this time I did feel like my nausea was much better. I obviously had days where I was like, oh, I'm not gonna make it. But I feel like overall, if last time I rated my nausea like a 6 out of 10, this time it was like a 4. So much improved. But also this time I was very diligent. I jumped right on the B6 train. Last time I waited way too long to start that. This time I took it every single day religiously, and I seriously think that that helped. I would take it like 2 or 3 times a day, depending on that, if I remembered or if I needed it, obviously. But I think that played a huge role in me feeling much better with the nausea. Definitely frequent urination. Like, literally I felt like I found out I was pregnant and I was peeing 24/7. So that's just how it works for me. Last time I remember that too, my husband was like, is it normal to be peeing this much? Like because in his mind he's thinking like there's no baby like heavy enough to be laying on your bladder, but it doesn't work like that, okay? I mean, it does later, but there's other reasons. So yeah, definitely frequent urination, especially throughout the night, which that's the worst because you're just trying to sleep when you're so tired. But no, you gotta pee 5 times. So yeah, that was rough. That's a very annoying symptom. I did have some bloating, but this time I was very lucky. I did not have any constipation, knock on wood. I'm not sure why, what was different, but I didn't have any constipation or anything like that. I just felt bloated sometimes. So yeah, and then the last symptom, oh, this one was a killer. Nipple sensitivity. So my first pregnancy, I remember my boobs being really tender and swollen and so sore, like my boobs. This time, it was my nipples. And let me tell you what, that's no fun when you're breastfeeding, okay? So I remember I'd be breastfeeding, I'd just be like, oh my God, like I'd be cringing, like, oh, just the thought of breastfeeding, like, gave me chills. Like it was just awful. Like it was for quite a few weeks, 5, 6, almost 7 weeks. I was struggling. I felt like even I'd get in the shower and the water would hit my nipple and I'd be like, oh, like I wanted to like put like nipple caps on or something. I mean, don't even have that, but I wanted to protect my nipples from the shower. That's how sensitive they were. Ugh, that was rough. So anyways, that sums up my symptoms. So very like minimal, I feel. I mean, I felt like it was very textbook, just kind of similar to my last time, but maybe some things more intense, some things less intense, but nothing really new. So yeah, I feel pretty lucky for that. So let's just go into the next section I have here, and that would be aversions. So my first pregnancy, my only aversion was coffee. Ugh. Second pregnancy, same exact thing. Like it was literally like the day I found out I was pregnant. Not even because I was like, oh, no more caffeine. It was just like the smell of it, the thought of it. I wanted nothing to do with it. I didn't want decaf. I wanted nothing to do with coffee, which I'm actually so thankful that that is a symptom that I experience or an aversion, because I really don't want to drink it during my first trimester if, you know, possible. So I didn't want it. So it made it much easier to just give it up cold turkey. So yeah, there was no coffee for me. That made me totally nauseous and ugh, just the worst. But this pregnancy, I had one more aversion, and this one I have to say was a tough one. Water. How weird is that? Like, I drink so much water. I'm like a big, like, drink your lemon water every single morning. Like, I couldn't survive without water. I mean, no one could, but it was so shocking to me when one day I woke up, squeezed my lemon in my water, and I thought, oh, just the thought of water. So I have to say I was able to get it down, okay? But I did make a lot of substitutions throughout the day. So like I'd always start with my lemon water in the morning. It was a struggle sometimes, but if I made it more sour, it did help. So I would use like maybe a whole lemon instead of like half or a fourth. More lemon definitely helped, so I made it super sour. Also, sometimes I literally just had to, throughout the day, like do a little bit of grape juice, a lot of water, just had to find ways to get water in without like just drinking it plain. I did a lot of Spindrift and different sparkling waters, and I felt like that was also very helpful. So thank goodness for those things, because like what a terrible aversion to have when you're pregnant. Water, that's like when you need water the most. Also, I once again love in liquid IV. It was awesome since I was still breastfeeding and also pregnant. I felt like I needed like all the hydration I could possibly get. I could not afford not to have water, especially during this time. So those are my only 2 aversions. And obviously I'm over those now, thank goodness. So yeah. Okay, let's get into cravings. So I have to say, they've been very similar to my first pregnancy. So I'm just gonna list them off, okay? So egg sandwiches. Not sure why, but any kind of like egg sandwich, I was down for that. Hard-boiled eggs, I went through like a 5-week like time span where I literally had hard-boiled eggs every single day. Like I needed to have a hard-boiled egg. That's fine. Orange juice, just loved it. Delicious. Subway. So one thing, when I'm pregnant, I do not eat any lunch meat. I know some people still do, but I'm just too paranoid of a person, so I just avoid that altogether. I actually don't even eat that much lunch meat when I'm not pregnant, but for some reason, when I'm pregnant, I'm like, oh, I would do anything for some turkey lunch meat. Very weird. I don't know why. It's like you want what you can't have type of thing. And Subway has that like roasted chicken it's probably disgusting. It's like not real chicken. It looks like a dog treat or something, but whatever. I did have that 3 times because I remember like there was like 1 or 2 weeks where I just couldn't think about anything else besides that. They had that like sweet onion sauce or something. It's freaking delicious. And I just, yeah, tore it up. Loved it. Subway, I had that for like a whole week. And then every once in a while, I'd want Taco Bell. Yep, Taco Bell. And I craved avocado with lemon and salt and pepper. I craved that like every single day. So I had that like every single day. And pears, which is, okay, I like pears, they're fine. I've never like craved a pear, but during this pregnancy, holy moly, have I craved pears. Like even now, actually, I could really eat a pear right now. I don't know why, they just like literally taste like candy this time. So yeah, I've been tearing up the pears. Also bananas, which I did crave bananas last time. I did not crave pears last time, I don't think so. That's a new one. I hate to admit this, but once again, the blue cheese dressing, also Caesar. I don't know why. And this might have been only for like 2 weeks that I really craved this time, but I remember last pregnancy I did crave like anything like dairy based. Like I wanted yogurt upon yogurt upon yogurt, like tons of, like I would eat cream cheese, anything like dairy based, I wanted that. This time it sounds fine, but I'm not like craving it that strongly. So but yeah, the blue cheese dressing and Caesar, I'm not really sure why, but once again I wanted those things. But my strongest craving of them all, which is the exact same as last time, Jersey Mike's. The veggie sub, Mike's Way, no salt or pepper, and no onions. And then I add the pepper relish and also get some on the side to dip. Pepperoncinis, banana peppers. Do they have pepperoncinis? No. Banana peppers, but I would have put pepperoncinis if they had them. And pickles. And then this time I created a new creation, add mustard. I don't even really like mustard, but for some reason I've been craving that sandwich so bad. I could definitely have eaten that every single day. That wasn't just like a Subway like 2 or 3 time thing. This is like I could have it every day. So I did also crave Jersey Mike's, the same kind of sub last time. Very interesting. I really crave, I noticed, like the vinegary stuff. So hey, I would take that because interestingly enough, I'm usually a very big sweet tooth. Sweets are usually my downfall. I have a big problem with sweets. This time at least. Last time I didn't really care about sweets that much either, but this time I'm literally not interested. Now I'm not gonna say if Ryan's at home and he's like, hey Kylie, do you want ice cream? Then I'm gonna say, no thanks, I'd rather have a pickle. That's not gonna happen. But it's not like when I'm at home by myself or even just sitting here with Ryan, I'm not gonna be like, I really need a brownie, I really need some ice cream. So I'm thankful for that. Hey, I would take the vinegary stuff. I'd even take the blue cheese dressing over craving sweets, okay? So I'm really, really thankful for that. Also, I do want to add, my last pregnancy, I did gain 65, almost 70 pounds. And gosh, looking back, I still am confused how, but I can see it more so now. I think this time because I took the B6 and I felt like my nausea was a lot more manageable. I did not crave like the heavy carbs like I did last time. I didn't crave bagels. I didn't crave Costco muffins. Yeah, I haven't craved any of that. So thankfully, I haven't gained nearly as much weight as I had the last time by this point. Also, the last time I did start off at a lighter weight, so it makes sense why I would have gained more weight. But this time I definitely feel like much healthier all around. Although last time I was healthy throughout my pregnancy. I mean, I still ate well. I just ate a lot. I added a lot of extra things. But yeah, I have to say that I'm very thankful because I feel like this pregnancy so far, I just feel a lot better overall. Just, yeah, very thankful. Okay, and the last thing I want to talk about, my doctor's appointments. So I know that when I first got pregnant, something that I wanted to know was like, okay, what happens at every appointment? Like, how many ultrasounds am I gonna have? How many times I'm gonna hear the heartbeat? And I feel like not all practices just sit you down that first appointment and say, okay, here's a list of all your appointments. This is what's gonna happen, just so you can know, blah, 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 which I think is really important, especially being pregnant for the first time. You're so like excited, and you're always excited, but you know, you always wanna know what's gonna be happening, like when you're gonna see your baby next and things like that. So I kind of want to go through my 3 doctor's appointments that I had during my first trimester and let you know what happens at each of them. I know it's not gonna be the same for everybody, but these things also happened for me my first pregnancy as well, so I feel like it's pretty reliable. At least a basic outline of what you can expect for your first trimester doctor's appointments. So at 6 weeks is when I had my first appointment. And at that appointment, they basically just confirmed the pregnancy through blood work. And I had my HCG levels checked, and that was that. So very basic, very simple. You go in, you do that. Actually, at the first appointment, I also believe that's when you get a pap smear, and they do like an STD check too. They may check for something else, but I know they do like an exam. I think that they now recommend every 3 years for a pap, but I still always just ask them to do it. They're already down there anyways, they might as well. So yes, that usually happens at your first visit. Then my second visit was at 9 weeks. And that's when they did my first ultrasound. So I'm pretty sure my last pregnancy, my first ultrasound was at 8 weeks. So I'm telling you that because I think it can vary, you know, a couple of weeks, depending on when you can get in based on your schedule, when they have openings, things like that. So this time it was 9 weeks. I had my first ultrasound, and the baby's heartbeat was 175 beats per minute, which is pretty fast. So, you know, the guess for that, this could be a girl. I know it's just a old wives' tale, but it was true the first time. We will see. So at this ultrasound, they were doing my ultrasound. They were like, have you had any bleeding? And I was like, no, not at all. And they're like, okay, well, we see a small bleed. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know they could see a bleed in an ultrasound. And so I'm panicking. I'm like, is everything okay? And they're like, you know, sometimes when implantation occurs, it can cause a little bit of bleeding, but you may not have experienced any on the outside, just maybe on the inside. They called it like a small hematoma. And they're like, so just because of that, we'd like you to be very cautious. We're not really worried at all. This is very common. Most of the time, your body takes care of it on its own. But please, for the next several weeks until your next appointment, just rest. Like, try not to do anything excessive. Like, don't lift anything heavy. Just try to take it easy the best you can. So obviously this is very concerning to me, even though they said, we're not really worried, this happens all the time. My heart, in my head, I was like panicking. So very stressed. I took it very easy. Like, I was very cautious. Thank goodness I was able to have help during that time. That made it a lot easier. And so yeah, I was kind of on like light duty, but you know. Okay, so then at 13 weeks, I had my second ultrasound, and this was set up to check on the hematoma or the bleed. So I'm not sure if everyone would have an ultrasound at this appointment. I can't say for sure. I just know for sure that for my case, they were looking for that bleed. So thank goodness the bleed was gone. So I was so thankful. I could have cried. I was just so happy to like feel less stressed. So that was gone, and the heartbeat at this point was 155 beats per minute. So still pretty fast, which is still good and healthy. But yeah, so those are all my doctor's appointments. So yeah, like I said, I feel like this pregnancy does feel slightly easier than my first. And I would say maybe it's because my body kind of just knows what to do. I'm not sure, I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know if that's true, because I've heard people say, oh my gosh, every pregnancy is harder because your body gets more worn out. But thank goodness so far, I feel like this pregnancy has been much better. And I just feel so incredibly thankful, and yeah. And I'm constantly praying for everybody who has been struggling to get pregnant or is really wanting to get pregnant. I am always praying for you. I'm always thinking of you. I know that this can be a really hard subject for so many people, and I do not take that lightly. It's devastating to me. So just know that you're not alone, and that you have people praying for you and thinking of you all the time. And so yeah, I just had to throw that out there. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I think that's all that I have to say. I rambled on. forever like usual. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you're new. Let me know in the comments below if you've had any of these same symptoms as me, or if you're currently pregnant, or if we're pregnant and due around the same time. Oh, by the way, my due date is June 18th. So let me know. But thank you guys so much. I'm so happy to be back. Okay.